Y'all, we got bombshells. We got them. We got them. They came and did what they needed to do. At least the ones that I wanted them to do what they needed to do with, they did what they needed to do with. I'm excited. But before we get into it, y'all already know, if you aren't new here, you already know to thumbs up that video. If you're new here, hit subscribe. Do it right now. It's free of charge. Just click that button right now. Do me a solid. I'm on the road to 10K, and we have grown tremendously over the last week and a half. Almost 700 new subscribers. Help me get to 10K. I want to get to it before my birthday. My birthday is July 29th. I'll be 30. Come on, give me 10K before my birthday. But drop a comment down below. I want to hear y'all's thoughts. Shout out to y'all for the last video. The last video is the highest view video that we've had so far this season. So let's keep it rolling. This episode had its moments. I was entertained towards the end. It was good though. It's got me excited to see what is going to happen the next couple days. But enough of me ranting. Let's go ahead and get on into it. All right, so we pick back up with Huda and Jeremiah. And whenever they picked back up, I completely forgot what was even happening. That's why I wish they would have closed this particular conversation on Tuesday. But she ends up asking him if he defended their union. It ain't really a union, but if he defended it to the boys whenever they were kind of like casting doubt over Huda with Jeremiah. But he ends up stating like, what threw me off was just how they were viewing it. So basically, it's like you want to say don't let somebody tell you, or don't let somebody manipulate your mind. But then again, too, you got to look at it from all sides too. And it's like, maybe they could be saying something true, but you really essentially have to listen to your own in here. But I feel like with Jeremiah not knowing, or at least with them not knowing the full story behind Huda and what Huda comes with, I feel like that's why he started to pay attention to it. I feel like Olandria's conversation with him earlier in the episode on Tuesday kind of started it. He listened to what she was stating, and like I said in the recap, it was making too much sense. And then whenever he's hearing it from the other people as well, it's like when you hear from multiple different people that certain things might not seem to be all that real, you start to take it in. The only difference is he started to process it when Huda comes over and is trying to get in his face and figure out what's going on with him. It's just like, I'm trying to process this right now. But Jeremiah needs to know how to use his words and state, look, I'm trying to process something right now. I need space a little bit right now. And then he could have talked to her about it, but they're talking about it now. But she apologizes to him and says that he pretty much should have just told her pretty much what I just said, that he was just going through whatever and he was doing whatever he was doing. But he said sometimes it's hard to even say anything. And she's like, your shit is my shit. I'm like, y'all been together for 8 or 9 days now. And you already talking like y'all married. Like, your shit is my shit. No, it's not. No, it's not. But she then does what she does. She tries to finish the conversation with seducing him. She ends up getting on top of him and kissing him and telling him that she likes him a lot. He ain't say the same thing back. Like, he just sitting there kissing her back, but he ain't stated. If anything, he could have reassured her and said, yeah, I like you like that too. But he didn't. But we'll move on. All right. Well, everybody else, they are at the fire pit. And Chelley ends up coming up. And she's walking up. She's jokingly telling Charlie and Taylor that she don't fuck with them because all that whipped cream is still on her. And Taylor ends up stating, at least you got it on your on these things, tiggo bitties. And he was like, for Ace to lick it off. And Olandria kind of like cosigns like, yeah, go lick it off. Lick it off. And she's like, chanting, lick it off, lick it off, lick it off. Austin is sitting right there. And I'm going to be on Austin's head all day. All day. So get prepared. He's sitting right there. And Ace licks her up. Licks her clean on up. And he's just sitting there. Looking like a punk. Me personally, if this is my woman and I'm supposed to be really pursuing her like that. And Austin claims that he's so bothered by it. If you were truly bothered by it. And you really wanted her to really commit to you. Why are you allowing this man to pretty much have his way with your girl? That's why she's not, at the end of the day, she's not going to pick him. Like I said, Ace for the show with Chelley, I feel like it's going to be what it's going to be. I feel like they're going to be together by the end of the show. After the show, I personally don't see it lasting. But for what it is on this show right now, I'm going to enjoy it because it's entertaining to me, at least in the moment. But Ace is at least applying pressure. He's now doing that. He wasn't doing it at the beginning. But now that he saw that she's not going to come chasing after him, he's now realizing, okay, well, I really want to go pine after her now. Who knows if it's just for his safety in the game. But at least he's applying the pressure right now. We'll get to it later on. But Austin's just sitting there looking stupid. And Chelley says that she knows Austin is going to feel some type of way about it. And she expects him to possibly bring it up. And she says, like, I ain't got no explanation for it other than the fact that we just having fun. You ain't doing that wrong. You doing what you're supposed to do. You got options. You got options, and you're exploring those options. Whether it's physically or not, she's exploring those options. And as we all know, with a relationship, there's the emotional, there's the communicative part, and then there's also the physical part. She's exploring both of them if you want to keep it real, but we get Austin and Charlie. They're having a conversation on the dock, the two Trumpies. And Charlie is all up in their business. He stay up in Ace and Shelley's business. It's just like, go get you some business of your own. And it's like you got your own business with Hannah's, but it's not entertaining, so you always talking about somebody else's. But Austin ends up, because Charlie ends up stating that she's into his ass, bro. Talking about Ace. Chelley into Ace. Duh. But Austin ends up stating that she just needs to go back if she's so obsessed with Ace. And I'm like, how is she obsessed with him? She didn't initiate that shit. He did. You claiming that she's obsessed because she's letting the man court her. At this point, you not doing nothing. So what is she supposed to do? Like, what is she supposed to do? But Charlie ends up stating that he doesn't want to be coupled up with somebody who's letting a man lick with cream off of her. Would Hannah want to be with somebody like you who's horny as fuck and every woman that walks in the door and kisses all over you? I mean, Charlie, I don't like Charlie at all. Charlie's annoying to me. But Austin, he ends up stating that Ace is playing a game that he doesn't want to play. And I'm like, he's playing the game that you just can't compete in. That's the problem. You can't play the game that he's playing because he don't really care about what you got going on because you're not doing shit. You're not even in the same league as him. But he then turns around and says that he can't blame Ace in his confessionals for doing and going after what he wants. Yeah, because, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You a man. Go after what you want. And this is where you could tell he literally wants Shelley to chase him too. And it's like Ace wanted Shelley to chase him. But now that he's realizing she's not going to do that, he's actually chasing her. He's actually putting in the effort to court her, to get her to want him. Whether that's for the moment and then to drop her. But at least he's fucking doing it. That's what you're supposed to do as a man. The woman is not supposed to court you. The woman is not supposed to be chasing after you. And if she is chasing after you, at least I'm speaking from my experience, a woman that's more obsessed with me than I am her, that's a problem. Look at Huda and Jeremiah. Perfect example. But he then turns around and tells Charlie that he doesn't give a fuck about chasing somebody, and he can to an extent, but it's not worth losing his pride. I said, so being a man chasing a woman is losing your pride. Women, pay attention. Pay attention. But Shelley, she's upstairs talking to Amaya now, and I'm happy they had this conversation because I like both of them. Like I said, Shelley and Amaya, I like both of them. Even though Amaya, she got her moments, but all in all, Amaya is good TV. I enjoy watching her. She's funny. She's crazy, and that's what you want to see on TV. She's giving the mess that I said that at the beginning of the season. I want mess this season, and she is a large part of that. But Shelley ends up stating, like, I appreciate you coming to me and telling me what you got to say and voicing your opinion or whatever. And she lets her know that Ace and her have that connection that she just wants to explore. And they agree to move past it. Amaya said, I want to give you a hug, so they get up and give each other a hug. And they say both that they fuck with each other, and I love that. I'm glad. Don't let Ace get y'all fighting. Like, don't do it. But everybody's getting ready for bed. Ace ends up telling Nick that he's going to be sleeping in Soul Ties tonight, aka he don't want to lay there with Amaya. Also, he probably don't want to lead her on. So, I mean, good for you, Ace. But he ends up stating that he's also going to make a hibachi-style breakfast for Shelley in the morning. Like I said, ever since he left Amaya alone, he's been putting in the effort to court Shelley, while Austin has not done shit. And he's been coupled with Shelley since day fucking one. Name one time when Austin has done something just off of his own mind. He hasn't. The only time he's done anything was make breakfast after he watched Ace make breakfast for Shelley. But other than that, what else have you done? You ain't doing nothing. You ain't being creative. You ain't trying to court your woman. Why would she not pay attention to Ace when he's doing it? So Nick and Taylor, they're laying in the bed with Olandria. Well, not laying in the bed. Nick is on the other bed next to Olandria and Taylor. And they playing and stuff, and you hear Olandria telling Nick, like, get the fuck, he's like, shut the fuck up, get out my face, and get the fuck away from me, because he's about to hit her with a pillow. And they in there pillow fighting and stuff, and she's calling for Shelley to help her out, and they all start pillow fighting. That was a nice little fun moment. But Huda and Jeremiah, they all sleeping. Everybody's in there. Essentially, a lot of them was in there getting busy, but there was a lot of motion in Huda and Jeremiah's bed. He was either, or I said, please don't be, because if you do, even though I'm pretty sure they did in the shower, but she was already obsessed with him without that. you giving her that, it's gonna get real nasty for you. But the next day, and it got so funny towards the end. I can't wait to get to the end. But the next day, Austin is up asking Chelley what she wants for breakfast, and it's just like, okay, because Ace is downstairs already making the breakfast. But Amaya cracked me up. She was walking out with her, I think she had coffee, or at least she was going to get something from the kitchen. And Ace is in the kitchen, and she sees him and turns her ass right back around. That shit was so funny. But Ace is down there being creative. He ends up telling Taylor to get this phone and act like you received a text that pretty much stated, come meet me down here talking to Chelley. Come meet me down here for a hibachi style breakfast. So he goes upstairs, and Chelley's up there essentially by herself, if I'm remembering correctly. And he does exactly what Ace told him to do. Chelley was not really believing it, but he was like, go down there. And then she starts laughing. So Austin comes downstairs while Ace is down there making breakfast, and he's asking who you making breakfast for. And Ace pretty much states, I'm making hibachi. Well, no, he didn't even ask who. He said, what are you making? And he says, I'm making a hibachi style breakfast for Chelley. Again, that nigga is not threatened by you. He has no problem telling you what he's doing. But Austin ends up walking past Nick, and he's got Chelley's breakfast in his hand that he made for her. And Nick looking like, he's looking across at Ace like, who is that for? Ace like, I don't know. And he really don't care. But Austin brings the breakfast up to Chelley. And just sitting here watching it, I just enjoyed seeing and realizing that there's a dark-skinned black woman on this show that is being courted to a certain degree with Austin, but at least getting the attention from multiple different. We don't normally see that on this show. So it's really refreshing to see. But Austin comes back downstairs. Nick ends up asking if the breakfast was for Chelley, and he says yes. Ace says I respect it. He ain't threatened by it. But Chelley, she ends up coming down. Nick walks her over to Ace. Ace is sitting there pretty much serving her breakfast, trying to perform for her, throwing stuff in the air, fucking shit up. And she's laughing and stuff, eating it up. Austin's standing there watching it. I'm like, Ace is being creative because Austin literally brought her breakfast and went, I guess, back downstairs. Ace has actually turned this breakfast into a moment where he can actually spend time with Chelley. Like, he's performing for her. He's making her the breakfast. Then he takes her breakfast, and they go walking over to go sit down and have a conversation. Wasn't really much to really be talked about, but they went over there and at least spent time together. But so they're sitting over there, and he's pretty much saying that this was his plan the other day before Amaya had ruined it. But they sit down and eat breakfast together. He ends up asking her if it bothers her that he's applying pressure knowing that she's in a couple now. And she says it doesn't, but it's just a little bit overwhelming, aka because she's getting a lot of attention from both people, and she's feeling like she's being pulled in both directions. But Ace pretty much states it's friendly competition, but it's not really a competition. Like I just said, it's not really a competition because only one person is really applying pressure, and that is Ace. And he's not really threatened by the other one because what is there to be threatened of? He's sitting over there watching you do everything and insecurely voicing how insecure he is. Why would I be threatened by somebody who is threatened by me? Like, be for real. So Ace already naturally got confidence, so this is just adding to it. But Chelley ends up stating that competition is for me to say, like, that's for me. So Hannah's over there talking to Amaya about how she feels bad for Austin because Austin feels like Ace had every opportunity to pick Chelley, but he didn't do it when he had the opportunity to do it first. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But at least now he's putting in the effort to keep Chelley, or at least to get Chelley off of Austin, while Austin is doing nothing but allowing him to do this. So it's like, how much can you really feel bad for him? But Ace is now feeding Chelley her breakfast. She's stating that she's not really doing anything wrong, basically entertaining both of them, which she's not. Ace is like, you ain't doing nothing wrong yet. And she's like, what you mean by that? But he ends up stating that he does not want to be intimate, but he wants to do it the right way. And she says she likes that, and she agrees to that. But he then tells her, too, that they got a date tomorrow morning. So be ready. He's trying to apply pressure. I don't even know if he had a date planned. But basically, he's telling her, be prepared, because we about to do something. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's courting a woman that he might want. I'm saying might because we don't know. It's Ace. Ace could be playing the game, which I wouldn't put it past him. But if he's not, and if he is, he's still putting in the work. So, I mean, can you really hate the player? That was pun intended. But he's doing all of that, and she's eating it up, honestly. But Chelley ends up stating that she's always been wondering, at least she's stating this in her confessionals, that she's always been wondering what Austin is thinking when she's with Ace and having these conversations because she knows he'll get in his head. She claims she likes both of them, and I said claims for a reason because She says she does. I'ma say she does, but me, I don't know. I don't know if I believe it or not. But she says the more time that she spends with both of them, it's not making it easier for her. But Austin's now over there doing headstands and stuff, and Chelley's looking a little bit, but Ace ends up seeing it and pretty much tries to get her attention back on him. But Huda and Jeremiah, she's watching him do pull-ups. She ends up stating that she thought that Nick was going to work out with them, and apparently he wasn't. But she ends up asking Jeremiah if she should go talk to Nick. And he's like, do it whenever you're ready. Like, it's your information and your news to tell. Do it whenever you're ready. She gets in her confessionals and states that Nick is a funny dude. I'm not worried about telling him that I'm a mom, and I think he'll embrace it. In the moment, I was like, it's wild that you're doing this and even considering it because of what he did yesterday, when he was the reason why Jeremiah was mad at you, or at least didn't want to talk to you. But it actually turned differently. But Amaya and Austin, they're having a conversation, obviously, because they want to connect now, because both of their options are kind of like seemingly working towards possibly being a full couple, at least in the instance of the show. But she ends up asking how he's feeling or whatever, and she says, I feel like something's off. And he's like, I'm exhausted with this love triangle. I'm exhausted being in a love triangle and battling, giving up doing it or continuing to pursue it. But Amaya ends up stating, like, that's the point of us being here, which it is. Like, you're going to be exploring other connections. It's not going to just be, especially straight off rip, you're not going to be automatically coupled up and, like, completely closed off. But he ends up saying that he wants somebody that's all about him and he doesn't like sharing. Amaya then says that she's happy that she got the clarity that she did from Ace. Rejection is redirection. And that is a good way to look at it, because it is. But they start connecting and stuff, and she tells him, like, I love seeing this, like, bubbly side of you. I want to see more of this from you. Like I said, in the moment, in my head, I was like, they're going to use each other to stay on the show. That's just really what it is. They're going to couple up if Ace ends up choosing Chelley or Chelley chooses Ace. But Nick and Huda, they're having a conversation about her being a mother. She ends up asking him, like, do you promise to not tell any of the boys? Because all the girls know, Jeremiah knows. And he's like, yeah, I promise. And she tells him that I'm a mommy. I'm a mommy. He says, a mom of what? I said, Nick, be for real. And she says, I have a daughter. He says, in real life? Because he ended up saying, before that, he said, a mom of what? A dog? But she was like, no, I have a daughter. He's like, in real life, like a real baby? I'm like, yeah, what you think? Judging by his initial reaction, he looked like he was kind of thrown off a little bit. But he then says that it's cute and starts asking about how old her daughter is and stuff. And he then asked how Jeremiah feels about it. And she was like, he's fine with it. He loves kids. Is he really fine with it, though? But she says that she wanted to pretty much tell Nick to allow him to have a conversation with somebody about it. And Nick says that he sees Jeremiah with her and sees how much Jeremiah likes her, and that's what he likes. And she basically tells Nick that Jeremiah takes care of her. He's everything that she's ever wanted, and it's going to take a lot for my head to turn. We know, Huda, we know. But he ends up stating that he's jealous about it because he wants kids. And she ends up telling him, you're an uncle now. Huda, it seems like Huda just allows any and everybody around her child. Like, you've known this man 10 days, and it sounds like you ready to introduce your child to... Okay, and Nick says it took bravery and courage for you to even do this and say this, and he then shares with her that there was a couple that he had helped. He was a sperm donor. They couldn't have kids, so he donated his sperm. Good for you. Cool for you. But we'll move on. Taylor pulls Ace because he wants to teach a dance lesson for him and Olandria. I guess this is his way of trying to do something with Olandria. Since we're talking about Taylor, we'll talk about it now. I don't know if y'all have seen it. I didn't even watch the full interview, but I've seen people recapping it. Olandria, I was about to say, why do I keep doing it? Dasha, she was on somebody's podcast where she pretty much along the line stated that Taylor and her were kind of having a lot of conversations, had a connection, and it got to the point where the night that she got dumped, he pretty much was going to pick her to save her, but didn't pick her because he thought that she would go back to Nick. So it's clear that he stayed with Olandria as the safe bet so that he could stay on the show, which proves all of what we've been suspecting along. He don't really like Olandria like that, which is why I'm happy what happened later on happens, because Taylor, it's time for you to go. But he ends up pulling Ace to do that. And Ace loves the initiative. He's like, that's what I told you to do. You need to start taking initiative. Chelley and Olandria, they're sitting there watching and wondering why these boys are just all over the place. They ain't really somewhere to be found. But Taylor ends up stating that Ace is doing something for Chelley. He wants to do something for Olandria now. I'm like, yeah, okay. But Taylor goes to pull Olandria. Ace runs them through the dance lesson. Everybody's watching. And I'm like, this is not intimate. Like, it's something that y'all need to be doing. If you really wanted to do something for her, you should have did something where it's just the two of y'all, where y'all can build and start doing stuff and talking about each other and figuring out where y'all are. But no, surface level. But everybody's watching them. Olandria, she look good. The body is bodying. Like, she always look good. But they start doing the cha-cha and everything. Everybody's cheering them on. Ace ends up telling them to spice it up. He then dips her and then tongues her down. And he was like, now that we did that, I feel like we're going upwards. We're moving upwards. Why? Because you just stuck your tongue down her throat. That's it. Yeah, what else are y'all doing? Y'all ain't really having conversations that kind of solidify y'all as a couple. Just like kissing her every now and then. That's not doing anything. But Jeremiah and Nick, they're at the dock. And Jeremiah's asking him about the conversation that he had with Huda. And Nick was like, I just want to hear your thoughts on it. Like, how are you doing with the fact that she is a mother? Jeremiah says it probably won't be a problem because I love kids, but once I get past the bad connotation, that's what he said, of essentially taking the place of another man's child, or at least taking the place of another man's child, taking the place of that child's essential father, basically being the father role to that child. He'll be able to get to that point where they could possibly eventually end up having a kid of their own, and then they'll be fine. I'm like, that's interesting because you seem like you had a lot of apprehension about taking on somebody else's child because you wanted to have a child yourself and be that woman's first, have that child. Why can I not talk today? Why can I not talk today? Y'all see what y'all know what I'm trying to say. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I ain't even about to edit this out, but y'all get what I'm trying to say. But Nick then says that he's excited. When she had told him, like, everything that she had told him about her being a mom, he was excited to hear it. And then he says that he wanted to give Jeremiah clarity. And this right here impressed me with Nick. I was like, Nick, this was good to hear from you. I'm glad to hear that you at least know this. He pretty much tells Jeremiah, like, yes, it's great that you're open to being that father figure eventually for her child, but you also have to keep in mind there's a lot of things that come with it. With taking care of a child, you got to take care of that child. You got to feed that child. You got to cook. You got to clean. You got to be that parent for that child. There's a lot of responsibility. I was like, okay, Nick, nice to hear. But Jeremiah says, like, I've never talked to a girl with a child before, and I'm not spooked because she's letting me move at my own pace. And I'm like, is she really letting you move at your own pace? Because she kind of speeding up everything. She's trying to make it where as soon as y'all get up out of here, y'all going to be in each other's house. Y'all going to be in a house together. And you're going to be playing stepdaddy. Like, that's what it is. But Nick ends up saying that I'm just glad that I could be there for you. And Jeremiah says, like, the conversation that he had with Nick was refreshing because if Nick's not worried, why should I be worried? That's if Nick's not worried because that's not Nick's problem. That's your problem. You rightfully have a lot of apprehension, honestly. But Austin and Chelley, they're having a conversation. And she ends up telling him that she likes the both of them, him and Ace. But it's uncomfortable, and it will be uncomfortable. But this is just what it is. This is what the show's about, essentially. Like, we are in this experience for a reason. It's not going to be comfortable because you're going to have connections with other people. And you're going to have to figure out which one is the strongest one, and you're going to eventually hurt somebody. But she ends up stating, like, while she was talking with Ace, she's always thinking about Austin and what he's thinking and what's going on in his head. But he ends up stating, like, he was in his head last night because her and Ace looked good kissing last night. I said, why would you say that? Why would you say that? Because it just makes you look insecure, too. Even if you're thinking it, why would you say that? And it's just like, even if you're thinking that, why are you not trying to find a way to make her forget about him? Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. But he ends up stating that when Ace had licked the whipped cream off her, he was squirming and stuff. And he said, sometimes I be wanting to say, fuck you to Ace. And she starts laughing. But she says she enjoys spending time with Ace, but she also does with Austin as well. But she also then says that even though Ace has been applying pressure, it took him a lot of time to get there. And she's thinking about that, which I'm glad she is. Like, you need to think about that. Yes, he's applying pressure now, but you do have to weigh out those thoughts that, okay, well, what made him do that? Now, you got to really sit and think about how Ace was really acting and how he is acting and how he might end up acting which we all know is always a possibility when Casa Amor happens, because I'm pretty sure he'll be there. He gonna be acting a fool. I already know it. Charlie and Hannah, they're in soul ties. I don't care about what the fuck they talking about. I wrote no notes down. But they essentially started talking about Ace, Austin, and Chelley yet again, because, Charlie going to always find a way to talk about Ace, Austin, and Chelley. But he feels, and they both feel, that Austin's connection is more natural and not forced. I'm like, in what world? But okay. Olandria and Chelley, they end up having a conversation, and Olandria is getting the details on the hibachi date. And Chelley enjoyed it, but she said she was stressed thinking about Austin and his feelings and whatever he got going on, because she does like the both of them. She keeps stating that she does. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. She does. I wish she didn't like Austin as much as she do, considering what we know about him, but okay. But Olandria ends up stating, yeah, because they both like you and it's good for you, but they're different in many ways. And Chelley's like, yeah, I'm just going through the checklist, trying to figure out what I want to do, but I'm taking my time. Cierra and Hannah, they're talking about Hannah's like for Charlie, and she essentially says she wants to be chased because she has commitment issues. But Cierra ends up getting a text. And this is when we start to get ready to get spicy. So everybody's anticipating it. Like, she's looking at the text like, oh, shit. So they find out essentially they're going to have a leather and lace party tonight, which leather and lace, you already can, come on, you know what's going on. So everybody's excited about it. Obviously, Jeremiah's expecting freaky shit. Of course, Charlie's horny ass is excited for it. But everybody's getting ready for the party. The girls, they end up asking Olandria about the kiss and how she liked it. She said that's always good. Like, she enjoys the kiss, but, like, there ain't nothing else going on. But the girls, they end up heading down to meet the boys once they had their fits on. Olandria looked the best to me. She looked good. The fit that she had on just highlighted her body. Like, her body looks good. She's pretty. Like, but all the girls look good. But they go downstairs and they're greeting the boys and stuff. Everybody's dancing and stuff. They got a stripper pole there. They kissing and twerking. They getting freaky. That's just what it is. But Ariana, she arrives. And this is what they had in that first look. If you don't follow my community page, you don't know what I'm talking about. But I posted about it because I was pissed. Because I'm like, that looked like a bombshell woman. And I'm like, didn't they say they was going to bring in some bombshells? And we needed some more dudes in the house for Olandria, Chelley. We needed some more. And I'm like, you mean to tell me they're just going to bring another woman in here after they just brought 2 bombshell women in here? But that was just a curveball because it was Ariana with black hair. So she ends up arriving. Everybody's confused because they're like, who the fuck is that? And then they realize it's Ariana and they like, oh, she look good. And she asked them to join her at the fire pit. And she sits them down. She's like, I'm feeling naughty. She asks everybody who likes to be dominant in their relationship. Amaya shot that hand up so fast. We know. And it's funny because obviously Ace shot his hand up too, which is, it makes sense. That's why 2 dominant people sometimes just don't work. But Austin is slowly raising his hand. And I'm like, how you dominant? How are you dominant? You from what we've seen on this episode alone, proves how you lack dominance. You let Ace's short ass dominate you when it comes to your woman. I just don't get it. But Huda, she's whispering to Jeremiah that she thought that he was going to do more this week. And he's like, what do you mean? And she was like, the way that you like me. Show me that you like me. I said, you are so annoying. But Ariana ends up asking who has fun kinks. Hannah likes being tied up, as does Austin. He ends up stating that he likes public sex. Ariana then tells them that they're going to have fun, and they start the game. She tells them to get up and follow her. So they go head off. And she has the girls. They're going to go one by one. And they're going to strap their boy to this big old X. And they're going to pick their pleasure, which is like whips and shit. Like all types of like kinky shit. And she's like, you're going to punish your boy and tell him how naughty he is and why he's been a bad boy. AKA just teasing him. And Ariana makes it a point to let them know it is a game. I said, you listening, Huda? Like, are you listening? It's just a game. But Hannah, she goes up first. She got Charlie up there and she ends up spitting in his mouth. Y'all like getting spit in? Do y'all like people spitting in y'all's mouth when y'all do it? Drop it down below in the comments. Drop it in the comments. I want to hear how nasty y'all are. But Cierra, she got them cheeks out. She looked good. She started spanking her ass. Nick could not contain himself. She licks him on up. And he was getting his life. He was shaking, looking like he was getting electrocuted. But Austin and Chelley. Chelley looks good. That's all I got for you. Huda and Jeremiah. Freak. She licked him from the tip. And you know what I'm talking about when I say from that on up. And Ariana called him out. because she like, you got on 2 pairs of shorts, aka you know why he got on 2 pairs of shorts. But Olandria and Taylor go up. She too much woman for him. That's all I got for you. Too much woman for him. Too much. Amaya and Ace. I was fully expecting her, because they were the last ones at this moment. I was fully expecting her to get that whip and start whipping him. Whipping him. Because we know how Amaya is. And it's Ace she's dealing with. But now she kept it cute. But once they finish that, Ariana then brings out the bombshells. The first bombshells that come in are the men. We got Pepe. He is 27 years old. He was born in Madrid. He's coming in for Hannah and Cierra. I said, interesting. Interesting. He don't give a fuck about Nick. So it sounds like Cierra is his preference, which I hope is his preference. Because Hannah can go home, honestly. But Jalen, he's 27 years old. He's black. I'm rooting for black until you give me a reason otherwise. But he's 27 years old. He's from Georgia. He's Southern. And he's looking for Olandria. I said, he wasn't the ecstatic that I said that we needed for her. But hey, he coming in for her, and that's all we need. We need somebody to apply that pressure, because Taylor ain't doing it. So, and then not only that, he's Southern. As we know, she likes Southern men. So maybe it'll work. We'll get to it. Ariana then brings him up there to everybody. She pretty much tells them the floor is theirs. Pepe and Jalen go and turn the boys around as they're still on the X. Turns them around so they can't see what they're about to do. So Olandria said, I'm ready. Olandria is ready, obviously. Pepe is up first. They go down the line kissing each girl. Pepe gets up there to see, and I was watching this to see who had natural chemistry. Pepe had chemistry with damn near every woman up there, if you ask me. But Cierra was the first one. He tongued her ass down. Tongued her down. Tongued Huda down too, and Huda was kissing back. And the reason why I said that was because y'all remember how she was like, telling Jeremiah, I was watching you when you was kissing Amaya to see if you was kissing back. Jeremiah wasn't really kissing Amaya back in that challenge. This one right here, she was all tongued in. She was feeling it. Feeling it. And it's like, do I want to feel bad for you or feel like you doing something wrong? No, because you're not. Because that's what you're supposed to do, Huda. Jeremiah might not be the one for you. Get to know these other dudes. Because you might have a sexual connection that could also be an emotional connection. But whatever. Pepe was doing what he was doing with her. Amaya and Pepe had some chemistry. She enjoyed it. I want to see if that could blossom. Olandria and Pepe had some chemistry. We'll see what happens there. Chelley as well. Chelley gonna have chemistry with everybody, really. But Pepe, he was applying the pressure. Truthfully. Jalen goes on his rounds. Olandria and Jalen, they had chemistry. They had it. That's all we need to see. We'll see where it builds from there. Ariana was eating it up too. She's like, ooh, because he was grabbing her ass and stuff too. He was taking charge. He had that woman right there with him. Taylor, watch out. Watch out. You about to go home. But Amaya and Jalen, they had some chemistry too. Amaya got 2 options too, if you're asking me. But Huda, she was getting all into that kiss too. I said, Huda getting into these kids. But Ariana then tells the boys she did not forget about them, talking about the boys that were turned around, and in walks in Iris. She's a blonde. I like the name. She's 25 years old from LA. She said, I ain't playing nice. I love to flirt. And she got her eye on Nick and who? Jeremiah. I said, get it, Jeremiah. So the boys, they turn the girls around so that Iris can get to work. Charlie, obviously, any piece of ass walking in there, he gonna be excited. And she get up on him. They start kissing. Austin's obviously lit up because it's another snow bunny. We get to see the real Austin. They kiss. Taylor obviously was liking it. Ace was liking it. Jeremiah. And Jeremiah, honestly, I feel like Jeremiah was, Ace had chemistry with Iris too, but I feel like Jeremiah, you could tell she wanted to do more, but let me just get to it. She left Ace to go to Jeremiah, and as she's walking, I'm looking to see where Huda's at. When I tell you Huda about broke her neck, because before she even got to Jeremiah, she already looked, trying to back her, because she's facing the back, and the only way she can really see what's going on is she can't turn around, but she's short, so if she turns around, she really can't see nothing but the wall. So she's hanging, looking around like a psycho. But when Iris got to Jeremiah, he was getting into it. I said, yeah, Jeremiah, get into that. Huda talking about some, what did she say? She said, bitch, if you don't fucking quit, I said, Huda, please. What you did. And Jeremiah said that too in his confessionals. Like, I just sat here and listened to you macking over here. I'm about to get me some. As you should. As you should. But Huda, that was probably the funniest moment Huda's had on the show. I died laughing. As psycho as she looked, it was hilarious to it was hilarious to watch. But Iris and Nick, they had chemistry too. That's gonna be interesting to see. I could see her going for Nick too. And I could see Nick entertaining it. So Cierra, and she looked nervous. But Cierra, go talk to Pepe. You got an option over there too. Y'all had chemistry, so we'll see. But Ariana pretty much says my work here is done. I'll see y'all soon. We'll see what happens tomorrow, because that's where it left off. We see some chemistry forming between a couple of these bombshells with a couple of the OGs and the Islanders. I'm going to give a prediction. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow or if it's going to be Sunday. But we all know when the bombshells come in, they're going to infiltrate. And I feel like this is what I think is going to happen, because we know they're going to end up pulling somebody from a couple. I'm going to give my prediction. I want y'all to give y'all's down below in the comments. So drop that in the comments. Who y'all think these bombshells are going to choose? I feel like Pepe, let me think about it, because I didn't write it down, which I wish I did. I think Pepe is going to choose, hold on, let me think. Which one's the easiest one? Jalen's going to choose Olandria. Taylor's going to be single. And he probably going to get dumped from the island. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. What's her name? Iris. Iris is going to choose either Nick or Jeremiah. I want her to choose Jeremiah, but I can see her choosing Nick. And then Pepe, that's the thing with Pepe. Pepe is interesting. I can see him choosing Cierra, but I want him to choose Amaya, because if he chooses Amaya, that gives Ace the opportunity to snatch Chelley from Austin, and Austin can go home. You see how it all works out. Or if Pepe doesn't choose her, he can choose Hannah, and then Charlie can go home. Scenarios. But I'll see y'all on tomorrow. I was about to say Sunday. I forgot what today is, but I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.